Ladies, gentlemen, boys and girls, it's Benediction Gamer, aka Pokexebz, back again with another video. And today, as promised, it's going to be a continuation of my trainer trials. So today the NPC that we're going to be playing as is the Hiker. So it's going to be the Hiker challenge. So we've been using a variety of Pokemon, which the various Hiker NPCs have used throughout the variety of games. So I've gone to the liberty of looking through all the games and finding out what those Pokemon are for you. So stick around and I'll show you those in a moment. Well, I hope you enjoy this one, guys. It was again quite a difficult challenge to do. It took me a few games. So first you'll see the few losses and then leading into the victory, but you can see how the strategy plays out. And yeah, so I say, hope you enjoy this one, guys. And as always, leave suggestions in the comments for the next sort of challenges you'd like to see. And so, what kind of Pokemon can a Hiker use? So let's get into the first one, Torkoal, which we've been introduced in Generation 3, I believe. Dunsparce, which has come in Generation 2. Next up we've got Sudowoodo, also another Generation 2 Pokemon. Then coming up next, looks like we've got Dugtrio, which has been there from the offset from the Kanto games. Up next we've got Donphan, again a Gen 2 Johto feature. Then coming up next, Lycanroc, one of the newer ones, so this would have come into Sun and Moon. Very nice piece. Then up next, Camerupt, which will be another Gen 3 Sapphire Ruby entry. Crocorock, black and white is this when this was first entered, I believe. Up next, Hippowdon, which would be Gen 4 Pearl and Diamond. Up next we've got Makuhita. It's not Makuhita, it's Hariyama, I always get them wrong. Up next, Bronzong. And the final Pokemon that we're going to be able to use, my faithful and reliable Mudsdale. So these are the types of Pokemon that Hiker has been able to use, and that will be featured in this game at the moment. There may be more to come once Pokemon Home is released and we can have more Pokemon into the game. But for now, these are the Pokemon that I believe you can use in the Hiker challenge. So I'm going to set my team around this. You'll see the 6 Pokemon that I select my team around shortly. I've gone for the Hariyama, Bronzong, Camerupt, Lycanroc, Mudsdale and Hippowdon, mainly being focused on running a Trick Room team because they're all pretty slow other than the Lycanroc, so realistically it's the only way we're going to be able to achieve victory, I think. But due to this, you're going to see we're on a little bit of a timer because once the Trick Room's down, unless we were to introduce Lycanroc into the team, which you may see is something that I probably should have done, and I think if you are running a Trick Room team, you should definitely be looking at least running one sweep which is built with speed, or at least maybe 2. If you're running the first 2 fairly durable, they're going to be able to last the majority of the Trick Room. But alright, let's get into the first game and see how we did. So if you were paying attention during the load-in phase there when we were looking at the team selections, you may have noticed that what we're coming up against now looks to be also another Trick Room team, which is something I analysed quite quickly. So I felt because of this I wouldn't be bringing Bronzong, so I didn't think I'd really need my Trick Room centre as long as they brought theirs. But perhaps even if they didn't bring theirs, because the speed balance should be fairly even. So we can see I've gone through a Hariyama and Mudsdale start. The key for this one, I think, is we're trying to get bulk up onto Hariyama to begin with, boost the attack and defense stat. Though it could be slightly dodgy play to go for, knowing that Amoonguss is probably running Clear Smog, and we'll look to use that on most turns where it's going to be effective. But I've also picked Hariyama for the option to run Detect and be able to use Earthquake without putting damage into my teammate. And hopefully be able to produce good split damage to both of their teammates. Now also at this point I did realise probably should have put Fake out onto my Hariyama as well. So that might be a move I change for in the future, but yeah, currently I quite like its moveset. I think it's fairly viable as it is. Currently running Detect, Knock Off, Bulk Up and Close Combat. So realistically, Bulk Up obviously to get the stats up, Knock Off to put in decent chip damage and also remove items, especially your items like your leftovers, to stop the enemy from being able to heal up. That's always going to be useful. And then Close Combat is obviously a very effective move. Try and save it where we can, but then that's also why we're going to be running the Bulk Up, so that when we have that defense drop off the close combat, we shouldn't be too badly impacted. Obviously special defense is still going to drop, so if we come up against special teams, we could run into an issue. But I say that's why try to use the close combat sparingly. And then I think if you've seen any of my previous videos, you know how I like to run my Mudsdale. Get as many stamina boosts as we can. So as we've seen, as previously mentioned, the Among Us would try to use Clear Smog wherever seemed fairly viable, and as you see, I boosted off the first move of an Iron Defense, so then they thought, yeah, it's probably best to go for Clear Smog. But as we can see, based off the ability that Mudsdale's running, it wasn't too bad for me. I lost my +2, but I went +1 because they boosted me off my stamina ability. So yeah, really big fan of Mudsdale, to be honest, and that stamina ability is definitely one of my favourite Pokemon to run. And I think when I finally actually do build a proper competitive composition, I think I do want to try and feature Mudsdale in there, because I find it quite useful, good utility. But let me know your thoughts, guys. What's been your favourite Pokemon to battle with so far on Scarlet and Violet? If the answer's Golden Go, then I don't want to be your friend. I don't like that thing at all. But yeah, I think yeah, for me, Scarlet and Violet has definitely been a good game. I think for me at first, I wasn't that happy that in order to be able to do any sort of like competitive battling post game, you have to go online. In a sense, there's no like battle tower or battle tree. Because for me, well, as you can see, I'm a reasonable player, but not the best, and yeah, my anxiety gets the better of me, so I don't always perform the best as I could. Whereas it's not so much anxiety on the battle tree, the battle tower. But I think this has actually been good because it's forced me to place more island battles. Now I've been more comfortable with it, and I've actually enjoyed it quite a bit. Although I say I don't enjoy rank battles as much, just based off some of the current meta and the Pokemon that people are running. It's not the most enjoyable times. But then this wasn't the most enjoyable challenge at times, as we'll see. So I think it's as well in this game, because I do make a misplay at a certain point. It's coming up now, I do believe, actually, because I should have focused to get rid of the Among Us, but in my head I was thinking the Among Us wasn't doing too much damage, so better to focus on the Farigiraf. But due to that, the Among Us has ended up putting me to sleep. And then we'll proceed to use quite a few spores. So again, it's that sleep gameplay that's getting to me. Bahamut, you must have been coaching these people, because they seem to know my weakness. And so yeah, at certain points is should I switch out the sleeping Pokemon? But I say with Mudsdale, I'm always reluctant to, because if they're not doing the highest amount of damage, then we're going to be able to get a stamina boost even if we're asleep and we're not putting anything out ourselves. So there's still a certain amount of relevance to keeping it on the field, even if it's asleep. But again, Among Us has now come in. He's managed to sleep our Hippowdon as well, so it's not going to be the most fun of games for us at this point. So this may be the losing game for us. We may have to keep going on in this challenge, maybe much like the Bird Keeper challenge. Going into this one, I thought it was going to be a little bit more successful, based off the composition that I had to work with. Because when I was looking actually through all the Pokemon that I could potentially run in teams that Hikers have used throughout the various games, it didn't look too bad. But then again, I say it may be myself and my inability to play may have come with the wrong composition. But then I don't know. You will see later on when it goes right, it goes right. But I think that's maybe percent. I don't know. That's my thought on Trick Room teams. Really, though, is that for a Trick Room team to be decently viable, you need most things to go right in the game. And as we all know, like competitive Pokemon, it's rare that everything goes right. Now, so you keep coming with Rage Powder as well, so that keep this Farigiraf awake, because his Among Us is not really putting out any damage. But at this point I can't really do a lot because my Pokemon are asleep, so I think it's going to be the end of this one for me. But Pound Your Mum's back awake. 12-year-old Zebs has entered the building with the nicknames. So at this point now, we're hanging on, what do we go for? Do we try and get rid of the Among Us? Do we try to go for the Rigarath? Do we potentially try and Yawn to put his Pokemon asleep to give us a little bit of viability when we bring Camerupt into the field? Is there anything at this point that we can do to try and get ourselves back into this game? We'll see. So luckily we've managed to get Mudsdale back up. Protect on Among Us, unfortunately, otherwise I think we would have knocked that one out, which may have given us a fair bit of chance in this game. Unfortunately we've done quite a bit of damage to our own Pokemon, which may have caused the knockout. I'm not sure if Hyper Voice was doing enough damage prior to that. I didn't do the calculation, I will be honest. But yeah, it's been a hard one. This was probably one of my better chances to be able to go for a victory coming up against another Trick Room team. Because I say, running a team which is as slow as this one, you're going to have difficulty in this current meta against a lot of the teams we're going to be running up against. I mean, if they come with a Gimmighoul, a Malshiarada, a Hydreigon, a Dragonite, an Arcanine, just about 1 or 50 Pokemon, then yeah, they're outspeeding us. We're not really having the greatest of times. But to be fair, we've built this team fairly bulky. I think even Hariyama, she's looking at his EVs, I believe it's I've gone 252 into special defense, 252 into attack, 4 into defense. So he's fairly bulky. I mean, I myself normally like to not go a full split into defense. I like to tend to favour say like 150 into special defense if that was the lower of the two stats, and then maybe 100 into defense. But let me know your thoughts on that. Do you think it's better to do a split spread across your defense, especially when your defense stats, or better to load it all into one stat? Let's say the weaker of the two, for instance special defense if that's the one. But yeah, I'd be interested to know your thoughts on that one, guys. Because as I say, for me, I think it's better to split. I think that gives you the better protection, especially against most of the teams. If you're running against a decent player, they are going to be running a split of special attackers and physical attackers. But yeah, I'd be interested to know your thoughts. But right, that's looks like the end of game 1. So game 1, and we have come off with a loss. But let's get into game 2 now and see if we can do any better. So looking at this game, it looks like we're probably going to have to bring our own Bronzong out now to get our own Trick Room up. So that's what we're going to go with. We're going to lead with Bronzong, Hippowdon to potentially get a Yawn in, because at this point I'm thinking actually, yeah, let's go for a sleep strat ourselves potentially. So looking into the game, coming up against a Clodsire and a Garchomp now. This is not too bad a setup for us, because the Clodsire shouldn't be able to do too much damage to my Bronzong, because he's 1 got Levitate and 2 Steel, so he shouldn't be able to put out any poison damage on it. And I'm not entirely sure what moves he'd be using, but I would imagine that they're going to be ground poison. And then likewise, it shouldn't do too much damage to Hippowdon. And then Hippowdon, obviously knowing the move Ice Fang, is going to be able to put out a reasonable bit of damage to Garchomp. We'll see how much it is, because I don't think I've invested any attack EVs into Hippowdon, so we'll see what kind of damage that does. Got very lucky off the start. We've managed to dodge a Fire Blast, which may well have taken out Bronzong and avoided us from getting up a Trick Room. He's gone for a Toxic onto Hippowdon. I don't think that's going to be the most useful of things. It's not really a team that we're going to have to stall out against. I say my team is probably on a bit of a timer, because once Trick Room's up, there's not a lot that we're going to be able to do. So I'll be honest, I think they were better off going for an attacking move there from the start, but each to their own. So let's see how this play goes. So I'll say we're going to try out an Ice Fang now, put it into Garchomp, see how much attack damage this Hippowdon is capable of doing. I mean, it's going to be a reasonable amount of damage it's going to be able to put out due to the weakness that Garchomp has. I believe I don't believe it's going to be 4 times. It's probably 2 times because of the dual typing. But look at that, that's fantastic damage, and we've managed to freeze him solid. So we can actually, we managed to freeze him solid. He's immediately thawed out. That was all in vain. I was about to say that was an excellent start. Let's see, and again, right, so does that count as a victory, guys? Because I think we might have been on for a victory there, but you're going to have to let me know your thoughts on that one, guys. Alright, so let's move into another game. So again, we're going to see we're up against a speed team, so this may be a bit difficult for us. So we're going to be up against, a plethora of dragon Pokemon, including the legendary himself, and then an iron bundle. And I've not played against Iron Bundle too much, so it'd be interesting to see what this guy's capable of. Intimidate straight out from Salamence, which isn't the greatest for us. So we'll see where we go from this, and what is he getting with his Quark Drive. So special attack's been heightened. This does kind of worry me. What sort of damage is he going to be putting out now? So I'm going to try and go for a Hypnosis straight off the bat. Now this was a misplay. Should have just gone for the Trick Room. It was a real misplay, because we'll see. If I'd have gone for Trick Room now, there was a good chance that I'd be set up to go nicely on the next turn. I'd be attacking first, and we could put in a reasonable bit of damage. Hippowdon looks to still be on the field, so he should have been able to get on an Ice Fang, and then potentially we could have gone for the Hypnosis then onto the Iron Bundle. So yeah, definitely a misplay at that point, but you live to learn, hindsight's a wonderful thing. So, you'll probably see from then on at that point, I think, when we're loading into games, if we're bringing Bronzong onto the field, let's get this Trick Room up first every time, and then we should be good. But we've got the Trick Room up now, we've managed to get the Salamence asleep, so that's a reasonable bit of their damage off the field. At this point, I'm wondering what do we bring in. I don't think Mudsdale is going to be the most effective due to Salamence being, I believe, Dragon Flying. And then because we're going to be, because they're asleep, let's bring in Hariyama. We can potentially get a bulk up, and then go in for some real damage, and then potentially that'll give us the chance to sweep through their team if we can get it done in enough turns before this Trick Room goes. But we favoured against it in the end, because I'm thinking close combat is probably going to take out this Iron Bundle here. As long as Salamence stays asleep, we shouldn't be taking any damage on our side of things. So potentially the better play to go for. Because I'm scared that once this Trick Room's down, we're going to need as much health as we can muster, because we're going to be taking damage first each time. Now he comes with a Miraidon. It's interesting for me because I need to learn more about this. I'm not entirely sure how electric terrain works. I need to look more into that, because as you see, I go for a Hypnosis now, and as we're going to find out, Hypnosis is not effective. You can't put it to sleep when the electric terrain's up. So again, another misplay. If we'd have doubled up into Salamence there, potentially we would have been getting a kill off on the Salamence, which would have been very useful. So it's coming in with the Overheat now. It's definitely going to tape out our Bronzong. See you later, Sergeant Zong. It was a valiant effort. Thank you for getting out the Trick Room. You at least did your job there. So we're going to see how this battle pans out for us now. This is a game where I thought to myself yes, you've got a Rock Slide, you've got a Camerupt, bring it in now. We should be able to do some reasonable damage here. Nope. Camerupt was in the last game. I forgot to bring it this time. It was one I debated bringing because I did like the usefulness of the moves. But alas, I failed to bring it with me this time. So let's make do with what we've got, and what we've got is probably going to result in a loss. So either way, let's keep trying this. The Hiker challenge, let's try and get it. So we've still got Salamence asleep, so that's put us in reasonably good stead. Hopefully knock off by Hariyama should produce a finish, but at this point I'm thinking maybe let's double up on the Miraidon and try and knock that off while we've still got the Trick Room up. At this point I think I definitely probably should have swapped my double kick out for a heavy slam. Probably would have put us in a lot better stead. I think double kick it's a reasonably alright move if it's going to be super effective. You're still going to be putting good chip damage. To be honest, it's one I've still lazily left on there. I do need to switch it out for heavy slam. But again, much like the Camerupt, bit of a misplay. So we'll keep making it as we go. But it's a work in progress, this team, and the progress is slowly coming, slowly but surely. So I think we're just down to our reliable Mudsdale now, so it's looking like this could be the end for us. But we're still didn't take too bad off that outrage. I'm also getting up a stamina boost, nice. But the Draco Meteor, that's going to send us down. So it looks to be us down for another game. But hopefully in the next one we can see what we do. Hopefully we can come in for a win. So looking at this one, so the Devil Incarnate himself, Golden Go. As I've stated earlier, if you're using Golden Go, you ain't my friend. And well, the rest of them, yeah, just a plethora of Pokemon I don't like to play against. So we've got a Murkrow, a Hydreigon, a Nihilape, Armarouge, and a Dragonite. So everything except for the Nihilape, I'm for certain is going to be outspeeding me. The Nihilape most likely, but I have seen him running quite a few Trick Room teams, so potentially is one of the slower ones. But we're going to see how we do. I think chances are actually the setup on this one could be alright, because the chances are they're probably going to be coming in with a Tailwind now, and we can come in with our Trick Room, which will be a lovely bit of setup, because the chances are we're going to be moving second, so we should make their Tailwind null and void, which would be beautiful. Chances are Golden Go, as well, he's going to be going for a nasty plot to boost the attack, or if he's feeling like he wants to go for it straight away, then he may well come in with the Make It Rain, put on split damage onto my team. I wouldn't say it was the greatest move to go for, because it's not going to be doing too much to Bronze on. So I think it's better move probably to go for a nasty plot at this point. But we'll see. I'm also thinking, for me, chance is not going to be protecting on the Murkrow, so the Rock Slide was probably the good move to go for. Get decent chip damage on the Murkrow, and potentially a little bit of chip damage onto the Golden Go, and if it's holding a sash, we've at least broken that. So we see a little bit of chip damage. I thought we'd be getting a little bit more up onto the Murkrow, but we'll take it. We've managed to get the Trick Room up now, so I say that should have made their Tailwind null and void. At this point we can start putting a bit of damage. So I'm hoping at this point Gyro Ball and a Rock Slide is hopefully going to be enough to take out their Murkrow. And if we're lucky, potentially we could get a flinch onto Golden Go, which would be fantastic. But as we can see, a little bit of an issue there. We've been postponed by Murkrow. But we're going to be able to get a nice bit of chip damage off the Gyro Ball. It's a little bit more than I was expecting as well. But unfortunately, due to the quash, we're not going to be able to get our attack off before Golden Go gets the attack in. So it looks like Pound Your Mum's gone. Unfortunate. But at this point, still feel fairly good. I'm thinking, what was the best option to go for? Do we bring into the equation ourselves our little Camerupt, which I said I wanted to bring in last game, so because of that I brought it into this game, because well, I didn't want to be in a position where it would have been nice to have a Rock Slide again and I don't have it. So we'll see. I favoured it this time, so we'll see how this pans out for us. So at this point I'm thinking another Gyro Ball into Murkrow, that probably should finish it off. And if we can get a bulk up, or so I think if we get a bulk up in now, we're probably going to survive, and it should put us in a reasonable bit of stead. And then I think we should be able to sweep through the rest of his team potentially, but we'd have to see how it goes. And I had a feeling that Quash was going to be coming in again, so I was a little bit mindful of that. I thought it'd be better to get the bulk up in now while the Quash is still coming in, get the Murkrow off the field, and then next turn we should be moving first. And I felt that I definitely should be able to survive the Making Rain, as we've seen. A little bit of chip damage, but not too much. And now I also believe that Golden goes down 2 stages of special attack, so he shouldn't be putting out too much damage to us anymore. So I'm almost at this point. I wonder what your thoughts on this, guys, but would it be better to, at this point now he's gone down 2 special attack stages, to try and just keep the Golden Go on the field and attack whatever comes into the second slot, and just keep focusing down on that, knowing that Golden Go potentially is not going to be putting out too much troubling damage. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on that one, guys. But as we see, it brought in the Annihilate. So for us, we're going to go for the extra sensory, I believe, or I may have backed out against it and potentially. So I'm debating here: do we go to the terrestrialization with the extra sensory? I believe it may get us a kill, but I'm also thinking there's a decent chance we get hypnosis in here, which would be nice for us to stall out the battle, make his Annihilate fairly null and void. And then also get a knockoff in, nice little bit of chip damage, although we see more than chip damage. Now we've got the bulk up in there, completely managed to get him off there, almost an OPKO, and remove the choice specs. So, coming into it, and we've seen the only move he would have been able to continue running would have been the Make It Rain, so potentially would have been worth hitting into Annihilate then, actually. Knowing that you've got Make It Rain coming, both Bronzong and Makuta should have both survived the attack. Just buy ourselves out another turn, and then potentially when this Dragonite comes into the field, be in good stead. I'm just coming in with extra sensory now. We're just going to try and get as much chip damage onto this Dragonite as we can. So hopefully when it gets around to this Annihilate, we're still in a reasonable stead. But as we can see, this is where we see his team seems to be sat on a little bit of time, and so we've now seen the Trick Rooms down, so this puts us in a bit of an unfortunate state. So the issue is now is if Dragonite can clear the Bronzong before we can get the Trick Room up, it's going to make an issue for ourselves now, because we're going to be attacking second each time. So at this point I'm thinking, yeah, let's try and bring Hariyama off the field, because it's the one producing the damage for us. We're going to bring into the Camerupt, and I hope that it doesn't take too much damage, can at least withstand a turn. But unfortunately we now see the Annihilate's woken up, and the game is now going to be going south for us. We've lost our timing. The chance for victory may be lost, but we'll see what happens. What can Camerupt do for us? He's taking a fair bit of damage there. Chances are this next turn, because we're going to be outsped, there's a good chance these 2 Pokemon are coming down. I say if we'd managed to get that Trick Room up, then we may have been alright. There may have been a chance we could have Rock Slide and maybe knocked off into the Annihilate, and then hopefully seen both Pokemon go down. But say at this point we're going to be outsped, so it's going to be quite an issue for us to try and win this one. But we'll see. Maybe they make a misplay and maybe we can get in there for the win. So let's see how this final play is going to be coming down. So it looks like they're going to be terrestrializing onto the Dragonite, similar as what we've seen in one of the previous videos I've shown you. It looks to be running a normal terrestrialization. This seems to be fairly common, I think, yeah, because it's going to give you the bonus stab on the extreme speed, and also protection against ice attacks. Now I do think it does leave you somewhat vulnerable, because there are a lot of teams that are going to be running Pokemon that's going to be quite effective against normal typing, but it's pretty good. So we've seen there another loss, but let's get into the next game, and hopefully we can get a win here. So as I say, it's been like a challenge, and it's a pretty hard one so far. Maybe a little bit harder than the Bird Challenge, to be fair, because the Bird Challenge obviously was difficult because of the weakness of flying types, but this one is just I think hard down to the strategy that most of the Pokemon are quite slow. Now I probably could have gone for the EV slightly different, and also I think, as I mentioned previously, it may have helped running a third or fourth Pokemon that was focusing on speed. For instance, my Lycanroc here, but I say we've as normal been stubborn and stuck for a strategy that we wanted to go for, but I say perseverance, you'll get there in the end. So yeah, let me know, guys, do you think should switch up the strategy a little bit earlier, or do you think persevering was the way to go? So we see getting into the next game now. I'm going to set up with a Trick Room, then we're going to go for a Rock Slide, because I'm unsure where they're going to be going with this, but I'm imagining that you're going to be putting a fire attack into the Bronzong, and you're going to be going for a, I want to call it Quick Step, but it's probably not called Quick Step. Yeah, Quaquavel's special move, which would boost his speed. That's what I would have gone for, but it looks like they're going for a fancy move, Water and Fire Pledge. But this is where I think not going speed and going for bulk may have worked out for us a little bit. I've managed to survive that attack onto the Hippowdon, which is beautiful. Managed to get a Yawn off onto the Quaquavel. So hopefully the end of next turn that guy's going to be asleep and puts in good stead. So in this turn I think we're going to be looking to focus most of our attack into Charizard, knowing that Quaquavel will be asleep next turn. So we're going to try and forget about that left slot and just get some chip damage in, really. But now moving first as well, let's go for a Hypnosis. Kept happening to me, guys, kept getting put to sleep, so now we're going to be the guy putting people to sleep. But unfortunately we've missed that one, but as we see, it's a bit of a wasted move, didn't need to go for it anyway. We've managed to get the Charizard down just purely off the Rock Slide, which is quite interesting, and couldn't ask for more. We've managed to get a flinch, and now Quaquavel's asleep, so he's almost out of the game. So we can see, explained earlier, I think, yeah, with this team you kind of needed good setup and things to go well for you. So we can see we've got a lot of luck in the battle. Brilliant start, so we'll see where we can go from here. So Garchomp, we know from similar game that we played earlier, Ice Fang is producing a fair bit of damage to Garchomp. So I'm very confident in putting that one out and knowing that next move we're going to be doing a fair bit of damage. And much like the first game, we've managed to freeze them solid with the attack. So this is beautiful. Can we ask for a better run than this, guys? That Hiker challenge may be getting done. So let's see where we're going to play from this. So we've seen that extra sensory, very nice chip damage on the Quaquavel. So that guy should be out now. And Garchomp can't attack because he's frozen. So this guy should be down. And it's a beautiful start. It looks like 3 Pokemon down. We've not really taken much damage ourselves, other than that first initial attack from that Water and Fire Pledge. Still got the Trick Room up. Still got 2 Pokemon sat in the halls, waiting to come out if they need to. But it looks like it'll be on the last Pokemon now, Magnezone. And so this is a Pokemon that looks like potentially could feature in a Hiker team, I guess. But apparently Magnemite's not been featured in the Hiker team, although I think you may see some of them on their travels. So looking on this play, I'm thinking, yeah, do we go for an Earthquake? At this point I'm unsure. This Magnezone got Levitate. It looks like it levitates. Earthquake shouldn't be affecting it. We're not going to go for Earthquake right now, so we've gone for the double cheese play. We've gone for a Hypnosis. And then just in case I went for a Yawn, and it turned out that it was actually a good play. It wasn't a misplay. This was one of my better plays. So it should be asleep in the turn after. Not that we needed to do it, but I just felt like doing it. So Twisted Tensions have returned to normal, but it shouldn't be an issue for us now because we've managed to clear enough Pokemon. We're not on that timing gate anymore, so that's fantastic. So let's see, can we go in and get the finish and get this Hiker challenge completed? So we're taking a Thunder there on the chin, but not a lot of damage taken there. Coming in with Earthquake now, as I say, not going to be affecting our Bronzong. And let's see what kind of damage. Amazing damage on the Magnezone, absolutely wiped it out. And guys, that concludes the Hiker challenge. We managed to get the win. It took a little bit of a while, a few games, but we got there in the end. I hope you've enjoyed this one. It was a lot of fun making this one. Stick around and be sure to check out the next NPC trials. I'm not sure which one will be coming, but I'll keep you posted. And as always guys, thanks for tuning in and keep it holy.